Hey heroes, Jonathan here at Night Knowledge. Merry Christmas, and I hope you're all safe, not working much, and having a great holiday. In today's video, I'm going to go over my top 5 games that I played in 2024 in no particular order to possibly give you ideas of what you can spend your extra Christmas cash on. Number 1. Baldurs Gate 3, one of the few Game of the Year winners that I actually agree with. I played this in early access all the way to launch, doing 3 multiplayer runs with my brother and looking forward to another one when there is the cross-play update in the new year. Fun solo, but better multiplayer in my opinion with a coordinated team. It's more challenging at the beginning, and while it does get easier as you get more powerful, the challenge persists throughout the entire game. The devs have done a great job squashing bugs quickly, making updates, and just adding to the game. It's just too bad that they don't intend on doing any official DLC for the game, but the free updates are still quite meaty. Some gamers tease how this is a dating sim with graphic sex scenes, and many people love just being able to play it their own way, whether that's good, neutral, or evil, and approach a quest many different ways. Combat is great and intuitive, with many party members having rich stories. I only have 2 gripes with the game, which is inventory management. There are opportunities to just loot so much and then so much to buy that it can be overwhelming for even experienced players. And when you do a completionist playthrough, by time you get to Act 3, you can feel burnt out and just want to get it over with so you can try a different build. Number 2, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Yes, this was actually a really great game despite the early complaints, which I attribute to the small but extremely loud minority. For me, Veilguard was the first memorable Dragon Age game of the series, and one that I'll never forget for the extremely memorable characters that include Asan the Griffin and Manfred the Skeleton Butler. There were hard choices in the game, as well as unexpected twists that had your heart hurting long after you turned off the game. It was a long game that rewarded exploration, one with fantastic graphics and great side conversations that your party members had with each other. I like the gear itemization system, where you get duplicates of items and it increases the rarity of the item and unlocks new passives, creating new opportunities for stronger builds. The combat system starts off slow with very few options and moves, but as you earn skill points, you're able to mix and match and try different builds and combinations to see what best suits the way that you play. Respecking was as easy as removing a skill point individually or by clicking a button to refund all of your points. Unlike Baldurs Gate 3, you're the penultimate hero, and in no shape or form are you a villain. So that's why a big part of the game, it may feel like you're a therapist, but it makes sense. You're about to tackle literal gods, plural, and you can't have your team distracted by their own personal issues. So you're going to solve them so that they can accomplish the mission. To me, it just makes sense, and I was happy to help them with it. It took me 67 hours to finish my first run, and I'm looking forward to doing a second run and trying different party compositions, hearing their conversations, and trying new builds. Number 3, 7 Days to Die, is the best zombie game out there. I'll say it again for the cheap seats. 7 Days to Die is the best zombie game out there. You earn experience and levels and use a very elaborate but easy to use and understand skill system to make the perfect zombie apocalypse build. Among State of Decay 2 and Project Zomboid, 2 other amazing zombie games, 7 Days to Die beats them hands down with an extremely gratifying combat system that rewards accuracy. My favorite thing is that every attribute, whether it be strength, agility, perception, intelligence, or even endurance, has their own weapon focuses that allows you to be good at combat, no matter the attribute you focus on, something that most games fail to do. Similar to Baldurs Gate 3, 7 Days to Die is fun solo but shines in multiplayer. It's great for people that have different goals and objectives, whether it be completing missions for the NPC trader, general exploring and scavenging, base building, or crafting. There is just so much to do in this game, and it brings everyone together every 7 days through a horde night called a Blood Moon event, where tons of zombies spawn, know exactly where you are, and will beeline to you. Even if you find a way to fully wall yourself off, they'll destroy any barrier put in front of them, or even dig through the earth to get to you, and then destroy the very foundations below your feet, so you're not safe anywhere. This is where understanding their pathing and good building design comes into play, where you could possibly create defenses so good that you could technically just stand and do nothing. But I find that boring and enjoy the challenge, danger, and the heaps of experience from this event. There are only 2 drawbacks, in my opinion, to 7 Days to Die, and that is the graphics, which could be described as dated, that may not be for everyone, and the price tag, which is a bit high and makes me regret not buying this for my friends during early access when it was a fraction of the price. But once again, this is the best zombie game in my opinion, and then it's allowed to have a premium price. Number 4, Once Human. The devs, NetEase, has definitely raised the bar for what to expect quality-wise for free-to-play games thanks to Once Human. It's a fun solo experience that becomes a multiplayer mandatory experience for endgame content. Nearly everyone was playing it because it was free-to-play with tons of cash shop cosmetic options. It has fantastic gunplay that is responsive and smooth, with lots of different weapons and armors to unlock, and the ability to create tons of viable builds, but some being significantly better than others. While on busy, experienced servers, you may have a hard time fighting to secure prime real estate, when you do set up your plot of land, you're able to go and create really unique bases that can be an elaborate expression of yourself. But bases weren't mandatory and could be just functional or bare bones. In terms of drawbacks to Once Human, other than the change from a friendly solo experience that turns into a mandatory endgame multiplayer experience, during the second season of the game, it suffered from pretty bad lag in the endgame open world boss fights, which could mean tons of time lost and materials. At the end, my friends and I stopped after the second season because they used the same map, with the only difference being unique monsters that were immune to all but certain damage types. There were very few new things to do in the second season. This was boring, and the straw that broke the camel's back was the devs introducing a new PvP map for Season 3 instead of having a new PvE map. Players were already playing significantly less in Season 2, knowing exactly how to complete quests, how to level up, and had blueprints to high-end gear that had them with very high DPS builds at nearly the start of the game. If they wanted to keep their PvE players satisfied, I would have focused more resources into making new content for Season 2. Forcing players to play the same map again for the third season, or pick a game mode that they dislike, was not the way to go. Number 5, Elden. This was one of the very few times where a demo sold me on the game nearly immediately, and I've never been so happy with a Steam purchase. Elden, which stands for Eternal League of Nephia, is the successor to another game that I've never heard of, Ilona. It's an open-world, roguelike survival RPG. I like to describe it as a Stardew Valley that has fantastic turn-based combat and with Final Fantasy Tactics-like graphics. Similar to games like Ultima Online, you gain levels and skills by doing, and you're able to create unlimited builds with this kind of flexibility. I made the traditional giant warrior, elven mage, and dual-wielding thief, but I have actually found the greatest strength by being a fairy musician that plays music at towns for extra cash, throws her mic to deadly effect in combat, and has such high charisma that she leads a mini army wherever she goes. For homebodies, you're able to go really crazy and create and design the base of your dreams, and like Once Human, expand the size of your base, but also have multiple bases. With all the bases, you'll never be alone though, because you'll be able to hire allies to work them or follow you and increase your following with long-term summons. You could be a literal cat lady and have an army of cats following you into battle. Elden lets you do whatever you want, so long as you pay monthly taxes. You can go spelunking, complete quests for townsfolk, be a stay-at-home farmer, gatherer, or crafter. You can even go from town to town, stealing everything not nailed down. So, those are my top 5 games that I played in 2024 that I'd recommend to anyone. Let me know in the comments below what are your top games that you'd recommend to your fellow gamers to get. Check out the rest of my channel for other videos on these games, video games, board games, and other fun things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.